Hello everyone, welcome to the postseason interview with the coach of the Atlanta Braviary, Stone Family 64. First and foremost, I know you're not feeling too well today, but the question is on everybody's mind, how are you doing today?
I'm doing a lot better than I have been the last couple of days, but I'm not gonna let it keep me down. We got to do this interview. I want to. I don't know the questions this time. You went over the questions last time, so not sure what they're gonna be this time. So looking forward to hearing the questions.
All right, so then let's get right into it since you're so excited for them. With the first season done and wrapped up, obviously you're the commissioner. So was the Elite Battle League more or less what you expected it to be, looking back on it?
Actually, it was a lot more intense than I expected. The other guys got into it a lot more than I was thinking they would. You know, I was kind of like on the same page with Derek, like let's just have fun. Yeah. And then everyone started EV training, IV training, and coming up with great strategies to counter each other. So,
right.
You know, when I did it with my kids, it was literally just we clicked buttons, and this was a lot to do with strategy. So I think I'm gonna learn from this season and carry that over.
So with that being said, I guess you kind of answered this question a bit. Did something surprise you throughout the season, or were you kind of what was something that you kind of expected?
The biggest thing that surprised me was 4 teams finishing at 3-2 overall. The only difference being the KD. So that was interesting to me because I honestly thought someone would go 5-0 or maybe 4-1, and no one pulled that out.
It was incredibly close, especially in those final weeks, I will say. I think you and Max coming up big towards the end over like Corbats and Guaneco was pretty big for keeping it close. So you two had a part in it, I will say. But also looking back at your matches, would you have maybe approach this season differently in any way? For example, you know, like the way you may have drafted your Pokemon or your general like preparation for matches, would you have approached it in any different way?
As I went through the season, I approached each match by actually taking time to look at the other team and actually trying to figure out how to counter it. In week 1 versus Derek, I didn't do that at all. Had I done that, I feel like I could have stood a better chance against Derek because he kind of demolished me week 1.
Right.
And but had I actually prepared for him instead of just being like, it's just for fun, you know?
Yeah.
That could have put me at 4-1 had I won that match. No guarantee I win it, you know?
Yeah.
But then that changes the whole playoff situation, and maybe I don't have to fight Guaneco for the title. I could have fought someone else and maybe won.
True. So with that being said, you mentioned obviously you went all the way to the final. But let's shift. Let's focus a little bit on the regular season, on your first 5 matches. Were you more or less satisfied with how your first 5 matches went, with how the regular season went for you?
All the matches, as much as it was painful to get swept by Gengar, I was actually satisfied with that match because it was cool to see Derek play so well. The match that bothered me the most is the one against Foos.
Yeah.
Because of the burn on Mamoswine.
Right.
Had it not been for the burn on Mamoswine, that match obviously could have been different. Maybe not, who knows. But I need to pay attention to burn and what it does, and maybe not Dynamax when I'm burned.
Yeah. Derek made a similar mistake in his week 5 match.
Yeah.
His semifinal match, or no, round 1 match. Jeez. Did a similar thing with Mimikyu, but yeah, that one was also another pretty tough pill to swallow because of the burn. But that was the week that like everyone was getting burned, so I guess it was bound to happen.
Scizor got burned, Rayquaza got burned.
Yep.
Mamo got
everyone. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, before the season started, we had our preseason interview. We talked about some goals and stuff. Do you feel that maybe you lived up to the goals that you set for yourself before the season kicked off?
I remember I said I wanted to have the season MVP. That didn't happen. Then I said I wanted to win the championship. That didn't happen. So I'm saying it here now on camera. Reneko, you owe me an MVP and a title. No, but I mean, I made it to the finals, and honestly, with the way the season started, losing, winning, losing, starting 1 and 2, no one was picking me to be in the finals. I wasn't picking me to be in the finals. Like, being realistic, it looked like it was coming down to Gwinneko and Crobats. So to make it beyond, beating Gwinneko once, beating Crobats twice, that was satisfying in itself, even though I didn't get the 2 goals that I wanted. Right. Making it to the finals, though, was kind of a goal of itself. After everything was said and done, if that makes sense.
No, it does. So shifting the focus a little bit to your roster, your 9 Pokemon. If you could have changed your team in any way, if you could have maybe swapped out one for another, or a couple for another, or the whole team for a whole different team, would you have changed your team in any way, looking back on the season?
Galarian Rapidash probably wouldn't have made my team. It only showed up. It only showed up to 1 battle. It didn't do anything for me in said battle, so I don't know what I would have switched it out for, to be perfectly honest. But I probably would have, and I'm pretty sure it was one of my later picks as well. So honestly, I can't remember that. But I don't think I'd have taken Galarian Rapidash. I'd have probably went for something else.
Right.
Probably
it's
like
interesting.
Maybe like Grimmsnarl, fairy typing still,
Oh.
but it brings the dark typing as well, where the psychic already had psychic typing when it came to readings.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of the answers I've been getting have been kind of just Pokemon that haven't really been used too much, or that people weren't really, or the coaches weren't really expecting to use as much. So it's interesting. You also had a very similar answer with Galarian Rapidash. Still on your team. Do you feel that you were able to adjust your team quickly, or did it take some time before you were able to fully understand it and fully be able to utilize your team to the best of their ability?
Honestly, I should have been trying the Trick Room from week 1,
yeah,
instead of saving it till later on. But also, I think saving it till later caught people off guard to where it got to a point they weren't expecting Trick Room.
Yeah.
So I think it became beneficial later in the season for me, where early in the season, I don't know how much it helps me. Like in the match with Goose, he's got slow mons too. So if I slow it down, does that really help me?
Right. Yeah. And it's funny because he had briefly mentioned in his interview as well that Trick Room may have benefited him. So you make a good point. And I will say, I didn't expect it. I was so like clueless as to when it was gonna come, and when it did, I was very hyped because it paid off immensely. I mean, you won your last 2 matches rather, running the Trick Room, so it paid off. But I get your point of view in that it may not have paid off for everyone. And Foos is actually probably the best example you could probably pull for a team it might not have worked against. So speaking on that, were there any other sort of challenges you struggled with throughout the season? And, if you did face any challenges, were you able to sort them out?
Well, I don't mean to sound cocky when I say this, but a challenge that I faced was the fact that none of my mons, except for Mamoswine, had the correct nature. So for me to make it to the finals with Pokemon that weren't technically complete, that should make the other guys, not trying to shout you out in particular because you're officially in the league now, but that should make the other guys a little weary of what I can do, especially considering my team wasn't 100% battle ready.
Right. Well, fair enough. Still following on that a bit, were there like any problems? Maybe before the season you're thinking to yourself, oh man, this is gonna be a big problem for my team or something. Were there any problems that you might have expected but never actually were a problem for you?
Fire types I thought could be an issue. Because I had Aegislash, Mamoswine, but luckily I had Thick Fat. Volcarona doesn't exactly take a fire type move well,
Yeah.
You know, it's still bug fire, which means it's still neutral. Vileplume doesn't like fire type moves.
Yeah.
Dialga is neutral for fire. So, I mean, fire was scary, but then I didn't really have to deal with it. Even fighting Cinderace, he used steel type moves.
Yeah.
So no one really came at me with fire, and I was like,
Right.
I was kind of surprised no one did that, but I'm okay with it.
Clearly, yeah. Was there anything throughout the season that you found maybe easier than you expected it to be, or just something that kind of came easy to you when it came to battling and taking on, you know, the other coaches?
All the matches were pretty intense, but the match, I'm gonna call out a match in particular, and I don't mean to insult anyone when I do this, but it's just true, and I kind of like to be truthful. The battle with Max in the round 1 of the playoffs, it just fell perfectly the way I intended it to. Like, everything, it's basically like setting up dominoes, and they go off perfectly the first attempt.
Right.
And that's what happened in that battle. Like, I literally was like, once he gets down to 3 Mons, Lapras comes out, G-Max, I win.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it fell into place. So that went exactly as planned, but nothing else in the season did.
And I could tell that you're being very truthful about that, because you know, you said that right when I was watching the match. So not that I didn't believe you in the first place, but I could tell that was definitely a plan that went to fruition, because obviously it paid off, and you were very confident in your video. So yeah, that was a very well thought out plan that definitely went to fruition. So you get through your regular 5 matches. You end the season with that win over the Miami Dragonites. Unfortunately, you couldn't quite get the bye week, but regardless, you're still heading into the playoffs on a 2-game winning streak. What were your thoughts heading into that match with the Detroit Luxuries?
Lapras. I needed to make sure Lapras didn't enter the battle till I needed it to, and like I said, that I don't want to say Max made it easy, but I came in with such a good plan, I think, that it would have been hard for him to counter no matter what he brought. And a lot of his Mons that he had on his team last season are weak to Lapras anyways, in one regard or another.
Right.
So it made... I was very confident. I think it's the only match that I was confident going into.
Right. So, like you've been talking about for the last couple of minutes, you get through the Detroit Luxuries, with Lapras coming up and cleaning up shop. You get through. You're moving on to the semifinals. You find out you're facing Crobats. Now, what are your thoughts heading into that match? Because you just got done playing him just a couple weeks before, came up with a big win. So, I mean, you got to be feeling pretty confident, pretty good heading into that match.
I would have honestly only felt confident had he not brought Barraskewda. The fact that he brought Barraskewda, I was nervous, because in every test battle that I did, if he holds out until his last Mon being Barraskewda, I lose. So him bringing in Barraskewda as early as he did in that match, I feel like that helped me as well. Because, like I said, every test that I did on that match, and I ran probably 5 or 6 test matches. If Barraskewda was the last Pokemon standing, I lose.
Right.
So I was so nervous going into that, and then obviously we pull up to the match, and he's got Barraskewda, and I go, frick!
Right.
I'm like, that's the one Pokemon I didn't want to see. I'd have been okay seeing anything else. But we pulled that one out. We pulled that one out, luckily.
Yeah, you obviously took a page out of Max's book, brought back the freeze dry, which was clearly a massive problem for the Chicago Score Bunnies, and they couldn't quite deal with it. And you guys pulled out a big win, close win. It was 6-5, but regardless, a win nonetheless to get into the finals. So you get in there. you see your opponent is the Miami Dragonites. Now again, you're facing an opponent that you beat in the regular season. It went to timers, another very intense match. What are your thoughts heading into the finals? Now you're there, you're at the final stage, the final match, you got there. How are you feeling at that point?
All right, before I jump into that, I'd like to shout out Conkelder for surviving and not getting paralyzed on that last turn. Conkelder's actually used to be one of my top 10 least favorite Pokemon. I gotta say, after this season, he might not be in that top 10 list. But the match with the Miami Dragonites was probably the most nerve-wracking because I knew that I was going to have to handle Ace, but I didn't want to do what Boost did the week before and only think about Ace.
Yeah.
And then I get into the match, and everything I'm doing is like so predictable. Like, Reuniclus gets to low health. Okay, let's switch into Dialga. And sure enough, he saw the Dialga switch coming, Earth Power. He read me like a book. So, the battle did not go as expected as I had hoped, but I didn't get 6-0'd.
Yeah.
And with
I was very worried about that.
I was too. When he had me down, like, I think it was what? I was down.
It was like 4-0 or so.
Yeah, it was 4
something
4-0, and I'm sitting there going, can I get one kill, please?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll take it though, because, you know, it's season 1. Only one person can be champion at the end of the season.
Yep.
And if I couldn't do it, you know, it's cool to have someone like Reneko to be able to represent the Elite Battle League as a champion.
And yeah, that match was it was a tough pill to swallow. Even just watching it as a spectator, I can only imagine how you felt. You know, you fall in the last hurdle. Couldn't, like you said, couldn't quite get over the mountain, but regardless, you're in the finals. You know, that's a big accomplishment in and of itself, because you had to beat out, you know, everyone else to get there as well. So you wrap up the match. You know, unfortunately, you couldn't quite get over the hurdle. How were you? What were some of your like immediate thoughts after that wrapped up?
Don't cry. I went outside, breathed for a little while. Spoke with Reneko after the match. You know, we had a good talk, and I kept telling him, "Look, you're obviously the better battler this time. You had my number. You knew everything I was gonna do." And he was like, he told me the only thing he really predicted was the Dialga switch, that everything else he was guessing. So that made me feel a little better, but, you know, you get beat like that in a championship match. There's only 2 ways to come back from it. You either flounder and you just let it all go, or you come back stronger the next season. So that's my plan, is to come back stronger next season. I'll go ahead and announce it here. I don't care. We've already started the draft for season 2, and I feel like my team's shaping up to be pretty well, but everyone else is drafting some baller teams.
Yeah. So far, it's been really interesting. So looking back on your season as a whole, just the EBL, just the Elite Battle League season 1 as a whole, what were some of your thoughts on it?
It was a beautiful success. It got a lot more attention than I thought it would. I think I got, personally, 20 views on every episode, or every battle, where my channel, and this is not to say anything bad about what people want to see, but I average probably like 6 to 7 views on my stuff. So it's definitely the most popular thing on my channel. Personally, I don't know about anyone else's, but to me, that means it's a huge success because it's doing what it should. It's bringing exposure to everyone's channels. It's bringing friendships to everyone, because that's the biggest important part to me, is we're all growing closer as friends.
Yeah.
So we've all grown. You know, Max and Derek are doing. Hopefully, I can announce this. Max and Derek are doing a series. me and Guneko are starting a series, and I don't know if those two series would come together if it wasn't for the Elite Battle League. And I'm not taking credit for Max and Derek's, they obviously have to make that decision on their own.
Yeah.
But without them being in the league, do they get in contact to make that series? So it's really cool. I think that's one of the biggest things I'm proud of, is the fact that we're building a small, tight-knit community with the original 6 originally, and now we've got 5 extra guys coming in since Crobats has dropped out. And we've got our first villain. I'll shout him out right now. I don't care. We've got our first villain of the Elite Battle League. Forsaken Ace has decided to take on that role, so he'll be joining next season. It'll be fun to see him trash talk and get smashed down every time.
Yeah. So with that being said, you briefly mentioned it. I'm assuming you are, but are you excited to be moving on to season 2 and with all the the stuff that's going to be going down there, new competitors and all that? Are you excited to be moving on to season 2?
I'd be more excited if I had the energy to be able to play a video game. Like right now, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but I'm drenching sweat. I'm holding back coughs. My nose is running, and I'm just sitting here is wearing me out. Like, it's easier to lay down right now, so I can't even build my team. But as soon as I get to building my team, I think I'll be even more excited.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot more fun when you get into the game and you start actually putting it into play. Yeah, I agree. For the final question for the interview, if you could rate your season out of 10, your personal season out of 10, what would you give yourself for the season?
I'd say a 6. Definitely things I could build on for next season. Probably would have said 10 had I won the championship, because if you win the championship, you're perfect. You've done it. That's all you need to do. Lost the title, so that's the goal for next season. I'm not going to worry about MVP. I'm not going to worry about weekly MVPs. The Atlanta Braviary are coming into season 2 with only one goal in mind: to get back to the championship, to take on someone from the Mega Division, and to destroy them in the championship and take the title and bring the trophy to my house here.
Ooh, big words. I love it. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and throw it over to you to go ahead and, like you said, you got a new series. I'm sure you got way more series and stuff planned going on your socials and all that. I'll throw it over to you. Go ahead. This is your time.
All we've got going on right now is we got a Soul Link trade lock with Guneko Gaming. Me and Aiden are still doing the Heart Gold tag team lock, and me and Christina are still doing the DC Superhero Girls. Also, Ollie's day has switched. It's now going to be on Fridays because he's got school, so Ollie Day will be Friday for his streams when it comes to Mario games. And besides that, we're going to continue to do shiny hunting, and we've got Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. I don't know anything that I missed. It'll all be in the description below, as well as Lonely Hermit's link, guys. Go check him out. He's definitely got some cool stuff going on. Catching up on the shiny lock with Jack that you got going on. And I know you got some other stuff. My brain just died.
It's okay.
But definitely good entertainment over there, guys. Y'all should go check it out.
And that's that for the Atlanta Braviary's postseason interview with Stone Family 64. To you, our commissioner, best of luck in season 2. I'm very excited to potentially face you in season 2. And yeah, there you have it. I hope all of you have a fantastic day, and we will see you real soon for the start.
Before we head out, I would like to say, if Lonely and I are to play against each other next season, if I'm not mistaken, the only way we can is the championship. So I'm down for this to be the championship match.
Let's go, calling it here now. But again, hopefully all of you have a fantastic day, and again, we will see you real soon for the start of season 2. I know we're all excited to bring it to you, and I hope you're excited to see it. So yeah, we'll see you guys then. Take care.